Once upon a time, a boy named Louis lived with his mother, Ariana. His father passed away when he was just 5. Ariana raised him alone. She worked as a maid. She worked hard for her only son. Now, Louis was in college. He wanted to finish his studies and get a job. He didn't like seeing his mother work so hard. He dreamed of a day when she could rest. Ariana worked in a big house. The owner, Laura, was very kind. Her kids, Ava and Archie, were naughty but loved Ariana. They treated her like a family member. Louis's exams were just a week away. After dinner, he sat in his room, buried in his books. It was only the sound of pages turning. Ariana boiled some milk, poured it into a glass, and came to his room. She placed the glass on the side table and sat down beside him. Louis saw the milk and said,
"Mom, why did you bring this? You already do so much."
Ariana smiled.
You are my only son. When your father passed away, I felt lost. But when I heard your cries, I knew I had to live for you.
Louis felt a lump in his throat. Ariana patted his head.
Don't worry. Once you graduate and get a job, I will rest.
Louis smiled.
That day will come soon, Mom.
Ariana nodded and stood up.
Now, study well. I'm going to sleep.
She left to sleep. On the morning of his first paper, Louis came into the kitchen.
Mom, I'm so hungry. You know I eat a lot when I'm nervous.
He said. Ariana smiled.
Of course. I know you always do this. And it's a good thing.
She served breakfast. Louis took a slice of bread, spread some jam, and took a bite. He picked up his cup of tea and took a sip. Ariana sat beside him, sipping her tea. After finishing his breakfast, Louis went to his room. He grabbed his exam board, pens, and admit card. Then, he left for his exam. After his going, Ariana got dressed, locked the door, and left for work. Louis's exams were over, and he started waiting for his results. Soon, the results were announced. He had graduated. Happiness filled the house. Louis began searching for a job. One day, he walked into an office for an interview. The manager looked at his resume and asked,
Do you have any experience?
Louis hesitated.
No, sir. I recently graduated.
The manager nodded.
Do you have any computer skills?
Louis shook his head.
No, sir.
The manager said.
I'm sorry, but we have no openings right now.
Louis left the office, feeling disappointed. He visited many other offices, but no one hired him. Louis was very upset, but Ariana comforted him.
Dear, you will get a job. Don't worry.
One day, Louis went to an office for an interview. After speaking with him, the manager said,
Young man, you should learn some computer courses. You have no experience, but with computer skills, you can get a job.
Louis nodded and left. As he walked home, he thought,
How will I arrange money for these courses?
That night, Louis told Ariana about the manager's advice. Ariana said,
That will need money. I will try to get maid jobs in more houses.
but Louis held her hands and said,
No. Mom. You are already doing much. You know I am free now, so I will try to get home tuitions.
Ariana smiled.
Okay. I will also try.
The next day, Ariana spoke to Laura.
Ma'am, my son Louis needs home tuitions. Can you ask your friends?
Laura smiled.
Of course. In fact, Ava and Archie's tutor is out of town. Louis can teach them until he returns. But they are very naughty.
Ariana smiled.
Don't worry. Louis will handle them.
That night Ariana told Louis about the tuition. The next evening, Louis went to Laura's house. She made him sit in the lounge. Ariana brought tea and snacks. Soon, Ava and Archie came in with their bags. Archie dropped his bag.
I don't want to study.
Ava crossed her arms.
Me neither. Studying is boring.
Louis smiled.
Okay. Then I won't teach you the secret trick to solve math problems fast.
Archie's eyes widened.
Secret trick? Tell me.
Ava leaned closer and said,
Me too.
Louis laughed.
First, open your books.
The kids quickly obeyed. Louis taught them with funny stories. By the end, they were laughing and learning. Louis took on more tuitions and soon earned certificates in computer courses. One day, Louis saw a job ad and went for an interview. The office was crowded with candidates. When his turn came, he entered the room. The manager looked at his documents and asked a few questions. Then he said,
We need an experienced worker. You don't meet our requirements.
Louis nodded, took his documents, and said,
Thank you, sir.
as he stood up to leave, he noticed a pin on the floor near the door. He picked it up and placed it safely on the desk. The manager saw this and said,
You are responsible and careful. I like that. I believe you will be a great fit for our company.
Louis's face lit up. His good manners had finally opened a door for him.